Many people are familiar with the events surrounding World War II, from Hitler's rise to power to the horrific scenery of the Holocaust. However, many people are not familiar with a small student resistance called the White Rose that dared to oppose Germany from within the country. We often forget that not all German citizens fully supported the Germans' war efforts. The White Rose sought to renounce Germany by printing and spreading leaflets to the citizens within the country. The call to action spread through homes, businesses, and even reached concentration camps and prisons. The authors' identities and fate would only be revealed after the war was fully over. When Germany seized power in 1933, Sophia and Hans were teenagers who lived in the town of Württemberg. Fear and propaganda were being spread to ensure Nazi Germany's control would be absolute. The government began to target the youth and set up institutions to manipulate and police their thoughts. As a result, Hans became a member of the Hitler Youth, and Sophia joined the League of German Girls. Both would rise through the ranks, causing their parents to become fearful that they were losing their children to Nazi beliefs. Sophia and Hans' beliefs would soon change after entering the military. Sophia would witness the atrocities occurring in Russia and Poland, while Hans was chosen to carry the Nazi flag during a national rally. They both hated it and began to question their roles for the first time. Their parents were supportive in their doubts and embraced these thoughts. Sophia and Hans went on to study at Munich, where they became friends with Christoph Probst, Willy Graf, and Alexander Smorell. The students grew sickened at Nazi ideology and desired to express their true beliefs on the government. Uncertain of who to trust, Hans gathered his friends in secret to rebel anonymously. They pulled their money together and purchased printing materials, and an acquaintance let them use a cellar under his studio. Beginning in 1942, the students began printing and distributing leaflets, which would later be signed by the White Rose. After Sophia noticed the leaflets popping up in school, she later discovered that Hans was responsible for printing the leaflets. She later confronted her brother because she could no longer remain silent. She had to contribute. The White Rose had to be cautious. Their resistance was treason and could result in death. Acquiring the resources to print thousands of leaflets would be difficult. The students had to network as far south as Vienna and as far north as Hamburg. This network strategy helped create the illusion that the White Rose had several locations throughout Germany. Together, they managed to distribute 6 unique pamphlets through their anonymous work as the White Rose. On February 18, 1943, Sophia and Hans brought a suitcase to the university. A university janitor reported the two siblings to the government and were later apprehended. They both denied any involvement, but when the leaflets were recovered, they were placed back into the suitcase where they fit perfectly. Despite attempts to take full responsibility, her friends were also arrested. They were immediately brought to court, which they were then sentenced to death by guillotine. Before Sophia's execution, she declared one final statement to her state. How can we expect righteousness to prevail when there is hardly anyone willing to give himself up individually to a righteous cause? Such a fine, sunny day, and I have to go. But what does my death matter if through us, thousands of people are awakened and stirred to action?
One of Washington, D.C.'s most enduring ghost stories does not feature a famous politician or serviceman, not even a person, but a cat. Washington, D.C.'s Demon Cat. Said to roam the Capitol building, the White House, and sometimes places in between. It's described as a common tabby, though can sometimes be identified as black. Once spotted, it grows to the size of a tiger or elephant and pounce at its startled prey before disappearing into thin air. Its appearances have been linked to tragedy in the United States, including the assassination of President John F. Kennedy and even the stock market crash of 1929. But why a cat? And why in the nation's government buildings? Back in 1862, as the Civil War was waged, the basement of the Capitol building was used as a bakery to feed the soldiers stationed in the area. All those soldiers needed a lot of food, and that food attracted rats. And so, cats were brought in to control the horde. Supposedly, the demon cat is one of those cats who passed on, but still stalks his former hunting ground. A possible explanation for the origin and persistence of this ghost story is that a Capitol building guardsman, perhaps drunk on the job, thanks to a tendency of nepotism in the hiring for such positions, passed out and awoke to one of the Mauser cats nibbling at his face. On the ground, half drunk and half asleep, the cat would appear massive to the guardsman, who upon reporting to his superior was sent home for the night to sleep it off. This may have led to a belief among lazy guardsmen that reporting a giant demonic cat in the halls of the Capitol would grant the worker a night off. Possibly lending staying power to the ghost story half a century later was one of the several cats of President Calvin Coolidge. Coincidentally named Tige, or Tiger, and also a tabby, he was a cat with a tendency to roam the National Mall, often being found several blocks away from the White House before being returned. The final official spotting of the demon cat was towards the end of World War II. Maybe its ghost finally passed on, or maybe the nation was simply too preoccupied to maintain the almost century-old ghost story. Perhaps, however, it isn't a malevolent spirit, and is still simply waging its never-ending war on the rodents that still make their home in the nation's capital.
You ain't getting past me? Damn it. What? Oh, impossible! Why does he have so much cake?
Nah, bro, I absolutely
Cannot handle this.
Yo, what's this? Come on.
Whoa. What the heck? What's that doing here? Bro. It's got a dress. Bro, look, it actually kind of matches my shorts though.
Not for real though, these are crazy. Bro, why are you? Wasn't we just talking about superpowers?
Yeah, man. I wonder if these like have anything to it.
Maybe. These spawned out of nowhere, bro. Yo.
Nah, bro, that's not how you do it.
Real?
I actually watched a sword fighting thing on the hub, bro. I'll show you how to fight. I'll show you how to fight, bro. I got you.
Come on.
Alright, check it out. Just follow my lead. Put your right foot forward, dog. Alright, ready? Fire, bro. You know what I'm saying? What's that, bro?
My bad.
Nah, bro. It's on site, dog.
Oh, word, bro. That's what's up. Let's go then.
Going beyond sports mode for this.
Actually, you're not gonna win.
Yare, does I?
Okay, let's cut this intro short. I am dyeing my hair, and this may be a video on how to dye your hair, or everything not to do when dyeing your hair, but I will leave that up to the viewer's discretion. Okay, cat break, look at her, she's so cute and adorable! I have not been feeling the best. So I'm making the executive decision to dye our hair. Yes, you're coming along with me on this journey. Which is so funny because exactly today, last year, I made the same decision and I decided to go red. We're going ash brown. So I decided to do like a red. Probably worst decision I've ever made, the worst I've looked ever besides high school, because nothing tops high school. And I looked so bad last year. Roll the clip. This was what happened last year. By the way, I never posted this video. Okay, here we are looking at some wonderful snap memories from last year, which I'm looking at this pic and I'm like, oh, I don't look that bad.
Also, it kind of seems like the color isn't really coming through on my camera. So this is what it looks like on my iPhone.
So I'm watching that video back and it's not as bad as I thought it was. I think it was just the eyebrows. Like, I don't know why I dyed my eyebrows. I shouldn't have dyed my eyebrows. Okay, and we're back from that atrocity. So, next thing we have to go do is spend our money at the beauty supply store. Wow, look at all that variety. So just make sure that when you're choosing what to do, that you're sure in your decision, because you can never go back. Just kidding. You can, but your hair's just gonna be really damaged. Then here's me sitting in my car staring at my receipt, almost second guessing and regretting my choices. So yeah, let's carry on. This is the stuff I bought. There's my bestie hyping me up on FaceTime. And then here's where I didn't really understand what to do, because there was instructions on the bleaching kit. By the way, I bought the whole tub, which I'm so glad I did because I have so much hair and it's really thick. Anyways, you're supposed to do like a 2-to-1 ratio or a 1-to-1 ratio depending on how you want to lighten it, but I didn't really understand, so I kind of just did whatever looked right, which you probably shouldn't do. And then there's me also still on FaceTime with my bestie, and no, I did not use foils. I did not use anything. I kind of just lathered it on my hair wherever, whenever. felt appropriate. Here's a close-up shot. Wow. Interesting. Okay, and then it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, so I went ahead and repeated that process 3 more times. Please don't do this if you have thin and fragile hair, because your hair is not indestructible and it may fall off, okay? Because I have really thick hair, and that's why it was okay for me to do this, but not everybody has such thick and voluptuous hair. So yeah, you know, your hair isn't indestructible. Take care of it. It's just like your skin or your nails. So be careful, because I think I kind of gave myself a chemical burn, but I'm okay. Anyway, so after a lot of this, and then a lot of doing this, we get this. And this is now what my hair looks like.
When you hear graphic design, the first thing you probably think of is logo design. And there's a good reason for that. From the minute you wake up, logos are all around you. From your toothpaste, your toothbrush, your cereal, your car, they're everywhere. There's no escaping it. If you look around you right now, chances are you'll spot a couple of these often clever little marks. While logo design is indeed a significant aspect of graphic design, it is only the tip of the iceberg. Graphic designers need to be skilled at designing cohesive and visually engaging designs across the board. From packaging, to flyers, to websites, and it goes on and on and on. However, logo design is a great place to start, and that's what we'll focus on today. Here are the ingredients to crafting an amazing logo. 1. Creative brief. 2. Research and discovery. 3. Idea generation and design. 4. Logo presentation. Now, let's talk a little more about each. A logo isn't just a pretty or clever image. It is a powerful branding tool. Its job is to communicate to the world. To design the perfect logo, we need to delve deep into our client's business and understand what makes them unique. What is their selling point? For that reason, most designers start by speaking with the client to get insight into their business, competition, and target audience. This discussion helps form a creative brief, a document that helps guide the design process. Today, we'll be starting with a pre-filled creative brief. This one is for Ben Walton Financial Advisors. This phase is really a continuation of the creative brief phase. We are now going to take everything you learned by speaking to the client and dig even deeper into their industry. Now is the time to flesh out any missing details. This will help inform the design direction and strategy. Idea generation and design. Here's where the fun really starts. In this phase, we take everything that we learned about our client and their industry and finally turn it into something tangible. One of the best ways to start ideating is to use an exercise called mind mapping. Mind mapping is where we choose a word that is strongly associated with our client's product or service. And we use that word as a springboard. And then we write down every single word that comes to mind. These words that we come up with can help get our creative juices flowing. It gives us a starting point, whether those words be something tangible or intangible. Now that we've got some sort of direction, let's begin sketching. Now it's time to further refine and vectorize our logos. Context is everything, and that is why we don't just export our logo on a white background and send it off to the client and call it a day. To help the clients visualize what the logo will look like in the real world, we create something called a mockup, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We take the logo and we place it on a fake product, a business card, flyer. Now that the client has some context, they can make the decision of which logo option fits their needs. At this point, any final deliverables are created, finalized, and sent over to the client. And that's it, we're done, boom. Oh, and make sure you get paid.
The American dream is alive, if not entirely well.
The American dream was that whatever your origins, that if you worked very hard and if you were a little bit lucky, that things would be fine for you and better for your children. It was palpably available to people, and now it's just not.
Signs were everywhere, but now it's official. We are in a recession. The research group that makes that determination made it today and said the recession actually started a year ago. But the question now, when will it end?
For those of us that graduated into the worst economy since the Great Depression, many of us haven't gotten over it.
I had this idea and this dream and this vision of where my life was going to go. And then I had to put it on hold because there weren't jobs out there.
Recessions, while terrible for most everyone, are particularly awful for those just entering the job market.
If you enter the labor market at the wrong time, which this generation did, you're going to have ongoing problems. They're not transitory, they're ongoing.
Millions of Americans have one thing in common: a crippling amount of student debt. As of 2012, Americans owed over $1 trillion in student debt. And as of June 2020, that total surpassed $1.6 trillion.
So it is significant. This is the first time in our nation's history that we've ever held this much in student loan.
For the first time in modern memory, we're having to confront an ugly truth: that my generation will be worse off than my parents and grandparents were. Not because of anything we did or didn't do, but simply because we were born in the wrong years.
What our parents told us what our adult life should be, it just didn't work out.